the brain that will change the world. And that's our job.
Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties. Sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Coy with your black tea sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's fill it up.
Good afternoon, gods and goddesses, sun-kissed by God's lips. This is your girl, Coy, with your black tea sip. So I got a heater for you. Go grab your cups. I'm sure to fill it up today, baby. So we have the pleasure, the honor, the privilege, I should say, to have my friend, a childhood friend. I've known her for many, many, many years. She was such a bad little girl that I used to like to hang out with her because she said such creative, innovative, provocative things as a child. Nothing has changed. So Hillary Younger is joining us today. She is a wife, a mom, an activist, interior designer, media personality, HBCU graduate, influencer from South Dino. Those of you that are in the Metroplex and know what that means. That's South Dallas, Texas. So known her a long time. Really happy that she's joining us on the show today because, you know what, we're going to talk about cancel culture. Some of the cultures that are canceling should be canceled themselves. We are going to talk about that. So we got a lot on our plate today. So Hillary, are you there?
I'm here. Hello, everyone.
I'm super excited about you being on the show because we have these conversations one-on-one. But today when we were talking, you know, I'm so glad that we had an opportunity to get you on in your busy schedule so that we could really share some of your insight. I think the people need your insight because, you know, they hear me all the time, and I understand that it's become called Coyisms. You know, I don't know if that's good or bad. They some of these things they think I'm just coming up with on my own, but that's not true. There are a lot of people that tend to agree, but you know they're not in the position to talk about it. So since this is independent radio, and Sammy, the owner of Fishbowl, has allowed me to be unapologetically not just black, but unapologetically independent of thought. And so today I really want to touch on a couple of things. I don't know if you've heard, Hillary, but there is a new lawsuit for Bill Cosby. Now, you and I talked about Bill, and you felt like they didn't do enough to him. You felt like they should have done more to Bill.
Ooh.
But
oh, no. They have a new lawsuit. Did they just let him out?
There's a new lawsuit, yes. Lily Bernard.
Well, they just need to run Bill Cosby on up to Golden Gate or Evergreen and just let him just sit there. They'll just leave him alone.
Just wait on him to lay down. Lily
Bernard. He got one foot in the grave and one on the banana peel. Bill is not here for us much longer. We need to buy all the pudding pops they have in stock because they won't be making them much longer. Bill is on his way home, okay?
Well, Lily Bernard is trying to usher him on in through the gates because she has accused Bill in the past of drugging and raping her, and she has filed a lawsuit in New Jersey, according to reports from 6 ABC, New Jersey ABC affiliate. Bernard is suing Cosby in civil court in New Jersey after alleging that she was drugged and raped in Atlantic City in 1990 when Cosby offered to feature her on The Cosby Show. Now, this is NBC 10 in Philadelphia that's telling that part of it. And the lawsuit states that Cosby lured Bernard to an Atlantic City from New York when she was young. And so she is saying, I have waited a long time to be able to pursue my case in court. And I look forward to being heard, and to hold Cosby accountable for what he did to me. Although it occurred a long time ago, I still live with the fear, pain, and shame every day. And that's what her press release says. So my question is, you know, now I am not saying that someone who was drugged, raped, it should be made light of. Not saying that at all. I'm just saying, I just think, was she not involved in the criminal case against him? She says she's waited a long time.
Yeah, I don't. Did she miss the deadline to sign her name on the paper? I don't know what happened. You know what? I don't do law. I'm an interior designer, so let me just stick to the rivers and lakes I'm used to. I'm going to let you work through that. But I don't know how she got left out of the last lawsuit. But, I mean, listen, if she has the time, then I'm sure, people want to hear about what happened. I don't know.
Well, she says that, a Cosby, she says that in her lawsuit that she felt weak after drinking a beverage, and that she became dizzy and nauseated, and that's them saying nauseated, not me. I don't know why they just didn't say nauseous. And it says the lawsuit says she passed out and woke to find Cosby undressing her despite her protest. She passed out again, and when she awoke, Cosby was raping her until she again lost consciousness and finally awoke naked in a bathroom jacuzzi, according to her lawsuit. She says afterwards, Cosby dressed her quickly, and the lawsuit states that a bellman helped him walk Bernard to a car and send her back to New York.
Well, you know what?
And she's suing for $125
Let me take
million.
back what I said earlier. Can I retract things on this radio show? I want to take back something I said earlier. Do not take Bill Cosby to the funeral home and let him sit and wait, because we'll look up and he'll be in the back in the morgue. It is clear that he is a necrophiliac, and if something ain't right, why does he just like for these just lie there in a state like that while he has sex with them? Can I say the sex on the radio?
Did you just say negrophiliac instead of necrophiliac?
That's exactly. I sure did. That's exactly right.
Okay.
Negro.
That's funny.
Okay.
That's real funny right there. Well, she's suing for
something ain't right with him. I don't know many people like him. This is weird.
Well,
weird.
She's suing for $125 million.
He don't have it. He don't even have a lawn care service. Have y'all seen the aerial view of his house from Google Maps? The yard is just overgrown. He don't have a yard man. I don't think he got $125 million left.
I don't think that he. I don't think he has. Oh, that's funny.
Man.
He doesn't.
Listen, this man, Yopon Hollis and grass and everything else is just overgrown all over. Just looks like a wilderness up there in Pennsylvania where he lives. It's terrible.
Well, that's what she's suing for, and I don't want to make light of it. I just think we need to be conscious of the fact that it's $125 million. I don't know what she does for a living. I don't know, if this caused her to not be able to earn any money since that time in 1990, and she's just been quietly waiting on some lawyer to take this case, either pro bono or on a contingency basis, and then he'll get his 40% of that $125 million that he does not have. I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I just think that it's a little odd. That's the word I'm going to use. A little peculiar. I think his fetishes are also very strange. However, I think the way people are approaching it, this idea about cancel culture, because here's my thought. Did they cancel the Cosby Show in a different world so that he could no longer make money? Because if you want your clients to be able to file civil actions and take money from him, then he has to be able to earn the money to pay the civil lawsuit.
Well, so the show's back on. My children and I we binge watched the Cosby Show this weekend, and it is still just as amazing of a production as it was when we watched it originally in the early 80s. And I appreciate them for bringing that back, because the reality is we have to be able to separate these men, specifically someone like Bill Cosby, from that art. Because his art was a team sport. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
I don't want to touch on R. Kelly because we go down a whole nother rabbit hole. But what R. Kelly was doing was basically running track. What Bill Cosby is doing, we can compare it to playing basketball. Okay, you have a player on the team, Kyrie Irving. They're still going to play games despite the fact that Kyrie can't play. You see what I'm saying? They don't cancel. The NBA is not over because he's not playing. And I think that cancel culture, okay, can I say one thing about my opinion of cancel culture so people just understand where I'm coming from?
Please.
I want people to know that I loathe, despise cancel culture. I don't want to live in a homogenous world where everyone has the same perspective, everyone has the same idea, everyone has on the same shoes and pants. People say they hate communism so much, but cancel culture is just a bunch of cowards who want to be able to predict the end of everything. And the reason they cancel people is because there's always somebody, like me specifically, who interjects something that they never thought of, that they had no idea, no perspective on. And what happens to them, they're sent into a tailspin with their brains and their ears start to smoke because now they're required to think. Most people who love cancel culture do not want to think for themselves. They just want to have a blueprint and be told exactly what it is, so they don't have to feel any anxiety, because these are the most anxiety-ridden people of all time right now.
Well,
and when you come with a different perspective, cancel them, cancel that person, because that messes up everything for me. The straight line is now crooked. It's a zigzag now, and I can't focus like that. Cancel them.
Right. I
don't like cancel culture. Cancel is garbage.
Well, this is what I have a problem with cancel culture, and I love the way you said it. It's as if, especially those of us that buy into these movements, and I'm talking about Black Twitter in particular, not Black people, because I do have some non-Black people that watch this show. I am not talking about Black people. I'm talking about Black Twitter, and you have to have a passcode and a key to get in there. And so if you don't know what I'm talking about, then don't worry about it. Just follow along for the hell of it. So what I have a problem with is the idea or the whole sentimentality that we are monolithic in our thinking. And so the cancel culture represents all Black people, all Black women, all Black men, all people who like black dogs. You know, it's the entire classification of people that are following this same downward spiral. And the problem I have with cancel culture is that it comes out of nowhere. But I'm starting to see, and I'm so glad you brought this up, because I'm starting to see some repeat patterns. Denzel Washington recently was, I guess, outed by Ellen Pompeo, who is she's the Meredith Grey from Grey's Anatomy. I don't know why that show's still on. It's just like repeat and syndication. It's like the same stories, but just with different characters. But never mind. People like that stuff. So she says that Denzel was directing one of the shows, and he was trying to give her some direction. Now, this is Ellen Pompeo that nobody knew anything before Shonda Rhimes found her up under some rock. And Ellen Pompeo goes on to say that, well, really what happened is she did not like him trying to give her direction, because that's what a director does on the set. They give direction. She didn't like it. And she didn't like it, and so they got into a heated conversation. I'm not going to say a debate or an argument, because if I say that, then of course the Black man is the one who is the aggressor. So they got into a heated conversation.
Villainized, yeah.
Right, and villainized, exactly right. And so they get into this heated conversation, and she says, "Wait a minute, MFer. This is my GD show. I have it. Let me, you know what? I need to be really specific in my
run the tape so I can see. Baby, not Ellen tried to bring the smoke to Denzel. Yes. I didn't even know this tea. See, this is why I listen to the Black Tea Sip. I had no idea she was doing Uncle Denzel like this.
Yes, and really try to do Unc bad, because she said, and I want to find it because I want to be accurate. She said, oh, right here in my face. I'm so organized, I can't help myself. So she says,
she called Uncle Denzel an MFer.
MFer, and says, now let me get it started. Because I'm saying, okay, what has Denzel done, Hill, that makes him the new target? Why is Denzel the new person to go after? But I'm gonna make my point here in just a second. Here's what she said. I want to be accurate. She goes on to say, and I want to find it. She went on to talk about, this is her show, and she says that she says that, wait a minute, MFer, this is my show. And she goes on to tell whoever's interviewing her that he has no idea about directing a TV show. He is a movie star. Wait a minute, what now? So in her mind, you know, but Angela, do we have the picture of Ellen Pompeo and her husband? Can you bring that picture up? Because once you see that picture, I think you will understand why she felt like she could make that statement, why she felt so comfortable making the statement. So we're going to bring up the picture of Ellen Pompeo and her husband. And I think this is going to paint a clear picture, because one of the problems I have with Black Twitter in particular is the fact that we've kind of opened the door to allow people that are not us to tell us what we're supposed to think and feel, and how we're supposed to respond, more importantly, to all of this stimuli that's around us. But Ellen Pompeo...
Well, that's the whole thing about being dictated to. This is a culture of people. Anybody who wants to be dictated to, anybody who wants someone to have some sort of leverage over them, these are cancel culture people. They need to be told what to do. And that's why I don't like it, because I'm not a slave. You know, I'm not a slave to a moment, to an idea, to an identity. I'm not a slave to anything. I am a free person. So I have freedom. I mean, it's not about rights, and this is not connected to any type of legislation or anything. This is just me being born free, period, in this universe to think, feel, and do as, you know, the way and I don't want to say as I feel, but as I righteously feel, you know, period. That's it.
And Ellen Pompeo's husband is a Black man. So
I figured you were going to say as much.
So here's my thoughts on that. Many times when non-Black people sleep Black, they think they can be Black. Calling him an MFer, that's unprofessional, but more importantly, it's unnecessary. Because she doesn't know that he ever
completely unnecessary
mama.
And disrespectful.
It was disrespectful. And what it appeared to me is a level of him not knowing his place. And so when she turns it in that way, and when there is a certain aspect of discomfort and white fragility rises, then, you know, they hide behind this thing, well, my husband is Black, or I have, you know, biracial children. No, what you attempted to do, Ellen Pompeo, was disrespect him and emasculate him while he was trying to do his job. And then you discredited the man that he is, because I'm pretty sure, and I haven't researched it, but I feel very comfortable in saying that Ellen Pompeo does not have an Oscar. Ellen Pompeo does not have a body of work that is so riveting.
But Ellen Pompeo cannot get an Oscar. You know why? Because Ellen Pompeo is a TV star. Just like she said, he's a movie star. Movie stars get Oscars. TV stars get Emmys. So no, she does not have an Oscar. She's not even in it running for one. Because what she does for a living would not garner an Oscar. It would garner an Emmy. I'm sure she may have some of those, but who cares? It's just the fact that, like you said, she berated, she degraded, and then she tried to emasculate someone, a director, because this is the thing. Actors go and guest direct for television shows all the time. Ma'am, this is not your show. This is Shonda Rhimes' show, actually. Where was Shonda Rhimes? Because this is what I need to know in a situation like this. Because where was the Black woman?
Where you going?
And homegirl to Denzel Washington when Ellen Pompeo walked up and had something to say? Because, see, me being there as a sister, and I mean a literal sister, not just as a Black woman, but as a sister to Denzel Washington, a niece to Denzel Washington, a daughter to Denzel Washington, and a fan and an advocate for Black people generally and Black men, I'm not going to let Denzel Washington argue with Ellen Pompeo. I'm going to step in and say, wait, Ellen. Now, hold on now. Choo-choo, okay? Choo-choo. Because this ain't the smoke that you want. You need to figure some things out right now. You need to apologize, and you need to go take your medicine or whatever it is that you're missing.
Get yourself together.
Come back and address this man in a humane way. Because calling him out of his name, that just was completely unnecessary, because this is the thing. If he started calling you 5 B's and 7 H's right now, we know what B and H stands for, then, you know, you will want him locked away under somebody's, you know, jail, never to be seen again.
Well, and here's
this is not what we're going to do.
And here's the thing. You know, Black tea sippers, this didn't happen recently. She's telling it recently, but it didn't happen recently. So it makes me
It's a power trip. She bringing it up because it's a power trip.
And I'm like, okay, well, are y'all trying, or is there an attempt here to cancel Denzel in some way? Because here's the other thing, and I told you, in cancel culture, I'm starting to notice that there are repeat, I want to call them offenders, but let's just say repeat
Go for it.
responders.
Offenders are fine.
Katie Couric. I remember
Oh, God.
specifically, oh God, I remember specifically when she was, and I don't even watch the Housewives shows. I probably couldn't find my remote or something. And Andy Cohen was interviewing, and I was like, why is she on here? Because she's like so irrelevant. But I remember specifically, he said, and it was a bait-in question, is there anything you want Matt Lauer to like stop doing? Is there something
Look at
that
this
he
bus
does
that goes by in my neighborhood.
And,
What the?
And she said, yes, I wish he stopped pinching my butt. And I've talked about that before. And she said, and he said, he pinches your butt? And then she said, yes. And he said, you don't want him to? And she says, no. And then he says, well, does your husband know? And she says, yes. And I remember thinking to myself, well, why is your husband knowing that he's pinching you on the butt and it's still occurring? Like, what goes on in your house? So is your husband pimping you out for the check? Because it made no sense to me.
Absolutely.
Well,
that is a historical fact, and I won't even get into that, but that is actually history. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And we can move on from that. We'll have a quiz on that later, but we can move on from that. Yes, that's history. Yes, he is pimping her out.
And
Go get the check. That's why he's calling. Never mind. Go.
Right. No, get the check just to deal with him pinching your butt, even though you don't like it. So here's where I'm going with that. Katie Couric came out with her story about Denzel. Now, if you remember, Matt Lauer, the butt pincher, was kicked off of NBC, ousted, ostracized, and then they came out and say he had a secret room, and I mean, you know, he was just a dirty man. But now she wants to tell her story. So she says, and these comments, you know, she's talking about a 2004 interview that she did with Denzel. If you want to know what happened, then like this show. And stay tuned. I got to take a quick break. We got to pay some bills. But stay with me, Hillary. Let's talk about the 2004 interview. As an attempt, now they're coming after Denzel. In a minute, this is Cora with the Black Tea Sip.
Nourished skin is healthy skin. Simply Ardor skincare products provides luxurious nourishment for your body. Indulge in rich scrubs and body butters and top it off with our sensational and unique aromatic lines of sprays and roll-on fragrances. It's simple and lovely. Simply Ardor. Love is real. Just spread it.
Over a year ago, we gave you the marquee. Booth of Vandross and his bros and queens. Abundantly satisfying, we did more than please. Made you party a bit and put your mind at ease. And then we spoke on everything else in between. We ain't come for the shine, but we left with the rated highly approved. Put you back in the mood. Gave it to DJs and put the needle to the groove. All star, all minus, all par. Booth of V, Sin Q, and we are loose cannons, no comparisons by far. We do what we do when we are who we are. Dope music, high jump, raise the bar. So soothing, we do what they are. The vision would sing like Stevie and Ray Charles. In the hazy room, fat sacks and fat gauze. Yeah.
Back to back, nice partying. Only stop to pray and then we start again. Just live today and let the rest go. We already know the way, baby, let's roll. And get back to the groove. Back to the basics, back in the mood. Back to the music, back to the truth. Back to the proof, I'll be watching over you. Coming back, things, big dreams, I'm still big, it's the big time. Bright lights in the big city, big ego. Pockets getting bigger, big Nino. Big under pressure, hit some pretty big free throws. I've been cold, started a fire, still froze. I am someone you should admire. The eye of the tiger. From now on, address me as sire. The situation could be more dire. Deep sea diver. From out the frying pan to the fire. MCs be like backseat drivers, tell them buckle up. Big trucks, we riding big wheels. Big pump, big tuck, bitch, I'm a big deal. Bigger the cap, the bigger the billing. The bigger her ass, the better the feeling. The bigger the bag, the hyper the show. I take it in cash and 20s and more. Back to back, nice partying. Only stop to pray and then we start again. Just live today and let the rest go. We already know the way, baby, let's roll. And get back to the groove. Back to the basics, back in the mood. Back to the music, back to the truth. Back to the proof, I'll be watching over you coming back. Back to back, back, nice partying. Only stop to pray and then we start again. Just live today and let the rest go. We already know the way, baby, let's roll.
Look at this bus that goes by in my neighborhood. What the fuck is...
Back in the mood, back to the music,
All right.
back to the truth, back to the...
All right, and we're back. If you're just joining us, this is Corey with your Black Tea Sip, as we do every Friday where we sip power to pour truth. I am joined by my dear friend, thought provocateur, I should say, Hillary Younger. And Hillary is the person that I like to bounce ideas off of, because not only is she provocative in thought and an independent thinker, but she's also hilarious. And so we're talking about today cancel culture. And I was talking about Denzel. It seems to be the new person. I don't want to say black man, because they just cancel men, and they'll cancel women if they can. He's the new person under fire. And recently, Katie Couric, let me get it out, came behind Ellen Pompeo, which is Meredith Grey on Grey's Anatomy, about her experience with Denzel. And this is from a 2004 interview. And I want to just read a little bit of it. And I want to get your perspective, Hillary, because, you know, you tickle me in your thoughts. She says, I think he being Denzel, misconstrued a question I asked and kind of jumped all over me. Now, understand white fragility. She is saying this black man, who I'm sure at some point is going to come out that he has power and influence. He's a Hollywood mogul and icon and Oscar winner. So she says he jumped all over me. This is from April 27th, 2020. And she says, Denzel, she started asking these questions, and she says, Denzel, do you feel, some people say Hollywood folks should stick to acting? Now, there was a whole conversation about that Hollywood had too much influence in politics. This is where this is coming from. So Hillary, Washington responds and says, I don't know that who Hollywood folks are. First of all, Hollywood is a town that has some stars on the sidewalk. I don't know anybody from there, so I don't. That's like saying, calling you a type of folks. I'm not a Hollywood folk, and I don't know who they are. She presses on. Looked like to me you'd left it alone. She says, okay, all right, well, let me rephrase the question. Are you one of those people that... He stops her. Aha, there you go. Am I one of those people? Isn't that interesting? So she's grouping him. She's classifying him in a way, and she does not take the cue. She's supposed to be a very influential, well-known, intellectually prowess-seeking journalist. She goes on. Oh, now look what happens here. Hillary, I'm sure you're going to pick up on it. She says, oh, stop. Don't call me out. Let me ask the question. He goes on. He says, no, don't stop. I heard what you just said. Am I one of those people? No, I am not. So the question's been asked and the question's been answered. She goes on with her line of questioning, and he stops her. And he says, and she goes on to say, I don't know what happened. And she recalls this awkward exchange, as she calls it. And she says, and then she brought up the fact that he donated to Stand Up to Cancer, which is her nonprofit. And she says, anyway, I think he must have been having a really bad day, because he later wrote a big check to my colon cancer organization, which I thought was super sweet. I love him. I admire him so much. But I remember walking out and feeling really kind of shaken that he had kind of gone after me in a way that was completely weirdly uncalled for. What is the purpose of that interview, Hillary? And what is the purpose of her bringing it up now? The interview happened in 2004.
So we're in America. It's where we are. America has its history. And this is the thing about people who live in the denial of that history. This is also the thing about people who live in the denial of privilege, who lie about the fact that you are privileged in ways that are rooted deeply in your DNA, like that give you entitlements over people's minds and bodies that I could not even comprehend or fathom. Because her biggest issue to this day is that a black man stood up for himself.
There it is.
To her.
There it is.
Period. Her only issue is that her husband, Colin, had failed him and he had gone on wherever he had drifted off to, and he couldn't pull out the whip to flog Denzel on her behalf.
To flog?
We know.
Did you use the word flog?
I sure did. Is that accepted here on Black Tea Sip, on independent radio, on the Fishbowl?
We sip power to pour truth. I just want to make sure that people understood the word flog in its context.
I sure did.
Because I'm irritated.
So she's bringing it up again because you know what? She's full of resentment at this point because the power that she felt like she should have had in that moment, she did not get.
Yes.
You know what?
That's exactly.
So, Katie, I'm writing the list down because you know I go to Hollywood a lot. I got Ellen Pompeo on my list. How you spell Katie Couric? Is it with a C or K?
It's with a C. K is K. Is Couric is with a C. You write it down.
And I want to see Shonda Rhimes because sometimes you have to check your cousins too.
You do.
You know, you have to see them.
Do.
Like,
sometimes
so when the girl came for Uncle Denzel, you just gonna let her stand here in his face and talk to him like that? That's just what you're gonna do? Okay, cool. Big Mama is disappointed.
Yeah, Big Mama is disappointed. I feel like, what is the purpose of this interview? And let me be very clear because I have been called a racist before. I love people.
How?
I don't care what color they are. But if I'm gonna call a spade a spade. If it looks like a duck and it's quacking like a duck, it's got feathers, I'm gonna say it's a duck. So if you're wrong, we're gonna say you're wrong. Katie Couric, Ellen Pompeo, you were wrong. And what you attempted to do was push on this black man, and when he pushed back, you didn't know what to do. That's what happened. This is not all white women that do this. That's not the case at all.
But it's Ellen Pompeo and Katie Couric who've done it specifically. And the other reality is, we know, as a person who's interviewed many celebrities myself, impromptu and planned, we know that people, they're celebrities, yes, but people have bad days. I've heard so many, first of all, I can bring up so many people who I've sat down with that were just in horrible moods, that were very short with me, that, you know, were curt with me. Yeah. But you know what? It's my job as an interviewer to bring out a different side of them. I'm not going to deal with their emotions. Them being in their feelings is not going to put me in mine. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do my job. So what? Denzel was you felt like he was in a bad mood, and if that's how you felt, then you should have given him the space to be a human and to be in a bad mood. He could have been. His dog could have died that day.
He could have been.
He could have run out of gas on the freeway. Anything. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it was. But to keep bringing it up and keep rehashing it means that there's something in you that can't let it go. And the only thing I can think of is the fact that he was willing to be in a bad mood and be himself with you, and didn't give you the power over him to change and alter how he was feeling in that moment.
And what about
you? Just want to control, Katie?
Maybe he wasn't in a bad mood. Maybe the questions and the way they were asked and the line of questioning put him in a bad mood. Because, see, I've been in situations where there was absolutely nothing wrong with me, but it was the person that made me guard myself and push back. Maybe she needs to take responsibility for her actions. This is an attempt to cancel Denzel. I'm not sure why it's happening. I'm not sure why, but this is an attempt to cancel Denzel.
Cancel Denzel, baby. We already got his whole body of work, all the way from Malcolm X, what's that movie he had in the Caribbean, all the way to The Bone Collector, on up until a whole lot of other stuff. His son is not acting, baby. Try if you will. You cannot cancel Uncle Denzel. It's not gonna happen. Go sit down. Katie Couric, Ellen Pompeo, and whatever other unmelanated human woman wants to come after with another dumb story. Okay.
Well, I think this is notable that Denzel has not been involved in any scandals. Every chance he gets, he talks about his wife Paulette and how if it were not for him, there would be no Denzel. And so I'm saying, why would someone go after a man who, you know, clearly they allowed Weinstein to go around pillaging, raping, and looting women for eons, and no one said anything. You know, this went on forever and ever until his brother had to drop him. What would be the purpose of dredging up old things about Denzel? I think
there are a lot of women who want a certain energy from you. Like, this is the thing. They're so accustomed to having people play around with them in a certain way. When they do all that, they come in and they do all this beguiling and enticing stuff. the way that they only can do it. And when a person like Denzel steps in the room and he serves, listen, he's indifferent. That's the whole thing. He's completely indifferent, and he acts like he doesn't even see you in that way. He doesn't entertain that. Now, am I not pretty? What's wrong with me? You start questioning yourself. So now, 30 years later, Katie Couric is still questioning whether or not Denzel Washington finds her attractive. What she needs to do is go somewhere and spray that Rogaine on her scalp for thin hair and try her best to be to have the longevity that Barbara Walters did. But we ain't heard from Katie Couric since that morning show and since she got her insurance settlement from her husband dying. So why are we talking about her?
I don't.
We got other stuff to talk about.
And here's the real kick in the pants, as my little brother would say. I thought it was very interesting that she's fallen off the face of the earth, but she reemerges after Ellen Pompeo to say Denzel did something to me too. I think that's really interesting.
Oh, that's what they do.
Well, and I think I'm like, oh, are you trying to hitch your wagon to his star? So let's talk about John Gruden. Since we're talking about cancel culture, John Gruden resigned as the Las Vegas Raiders head coach after reported that he was anti-gay, he was misogynistic, he used all kinds of language in his emails to paint a picture. And the only people he didn't talk about was the disabled. Everybody else was up for grabs. And so is this a factor of the NFL? Or, are they trying to say that it's him? Because that's the NFL. The NFL is a plantation. They may not be literally picking cotton, but running that pigskin up and down the field on the green grass is a kind of plantation. It's not shut up and dribble, it's shut up and pass, or shut up and catch, or shut up and run. I just think that the fact that people were so up in arms, you had Randy Moss crying on I wish these people stopped crying. Randy Moss was crying on ESPN, and he was talking about it just hurt him because this is what he loves, and he's often had to just keep his head down and pretend that it didn't matter. Listen, that's what's wrong. Can
I quote a great man about John Gruden? And I ain't going to say who the great man is because he might not want his name called, but I just want to quote a great man who made a prolific statement surrounding this John Gruden. And I loosely use the word controversy because we have to know that all of them talk like this.
All of them.
The great man said, never forget, now I quote this great man, he said, never forget that John Gruden's long career accomplishment are winning a Super Bowl and going to the playoffs with Tony Dungy's perennial playoff contender Tampa Bay team. It's shocking, but not that a scandal was required to end his NFL coaching career. That's what he said. He said it's shocking, but not.
But it's shocking, but not.
That a scandal was required to end his NFL coaching career. You over here done piggybacked all the way on Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy's knees is scraped to the ground from how you jumped on his back and rolled him into success.
Yes. And I think that this idea, you got all these football players that are commenting on it. Here's my problem. I don't watch football anymore. I stopped watching football.
Either.
I stopped watching. Now, I will watch a college game, HBCU in particular, but I don't watch football, NFL football anymore. And people say, oh, because of Kaepernick. No, it really wasn't because of Kaepernick. It was because of Jerry Jones, who I have loathed for many, many, many years. But I stopped watching it because when he said, and I understand he called Roger Goodell and told him no. And Roger Goodell has got to be the most mealy-mouthed, yellow-bellied, jellyfished, no spine having his leader I've ever seen in my life. Jerry Jones reportedly, because neither one of them talked to me, reportedly called him and said no, that it was not acceptable for those black players or allies that did not want to participate in the national anthem. They would all stand. They could not kneel. They could not stay in the locker room. And I said, well, here it is, just cotton picking right in our face. So I don't watch football anymore. But what I found to be shameful is right after that happened, Dak, who is now celebrated with the big contract, because you know what he did? He did exactly what Massa told him to do. He shut up. He threw the ball. He kept his head down. When they asked him about it, he said, and this is a loose quote, he did not believe that those kinds of protests were for the NFL. That's not verbatim. But it was fine when Tim Tebow was kneeling as pro-life. So I'm curious to know, what is the difference? Is it just black and white? Is it really that simple? Because that's how it appears. So now we have Gruden, who said all of these things. Well, so many other things have been said publicly about race. They may not have used the quote-unquote nigger, and I'm using ER, not H, because I'm not about to make somebody feel comfortable by saying N-word because it's a word that was assigned to a classification of people and we had no choice. So I'm not going to say N-word. The word is nigger, ER. When you start using those kinds of terms and you start putting them in emails, there's a comfort level there. That's what we're talking about. We're not saying anything about the person who received the email because they certainly didn't protest when it happened. I just think to frame this in this way is another failure of cancel culture, because if we want to clean it up and make it right, then we should be talking about all of the emails, the recipient of the email, the person that forwarded it, the person that responded to it. We don't have any of that information. And so now
all
it's
the
just
people
the
who didn't report it, all the people who received it didn't report it. But you know what's real about leadership, right, and powerful people and how they choose their leaders. They choose their leaders accordingly. Like, they know that Roger Goodell is a yellow-bellied sapsucker. Yep. They know that. Yep. So they put him in that position because they know he's malleable. He's going to do what he's told.
That's right.
He's really the man on the horse. He's not really
he's the figurehead. That's exactly right.
Power.
Yeah, he's the figurehead. And
he's just the figurehead.
He does what he's told.
And what was given to him could easily be taken away from him, and that goes for all types of leadership. When you see people, and people always get so impressed, well, you know, such and such is over here, he the director or whatever, baby, they allowing that person to be there. People in power pick their leadership for a specific reason. See, I couldn't be the CEO of anybody else's company other than mine unless I ran a covert operation to get there. I would have to fly in completely under the radar, because me just inherently being myself, they're not going to choose me.
That's right.
They're not going to choose me.
That's right. We got to take a break. We'll be back. Stay with me. We are going to talk about Lizzo versus Rihanna. I'm so sick of this, but we got to talk about it. Dave Chappelle. We'll be right back. Meek Mills and Expensive Pain, the album cover on a bus. This is Corey with the Black Tea Sip. Special guest Hillary Younger. Stay with me.
Oh, yeah, this is DJ Vic Smooth, the host of the show, and I got my other host with me, which is REA and Billy Ball and Juvie Rocks, y'all. Name of the show is called TV Cafe, and it goes down every Thursday from 3 to 5 on Fishbowl Radio Network. And you can also check it out at the website, fbrn.us. Studios at Global Life Park, Arlington, Texas. So definitely come and check us out, y'all, because it's going to be live every Thursday, and it's always going down. So be sure to log in each week from 3 to 5, TV Cafe, and it's going down every Thursday. Come through and jump in, y'all.
Podcasters and internet radio hosts, it's time to take your show to the next level. Hi, my name is Sammy G, a 30-plus year radio broadcasting veteran, public speaker, and voiceover artist. And for the last 11 years, now the proud owner of Fishbowl Radio Network, the largest and most listened to streaming platform and radio station facility of its kind. 2 years ago, I created a proprietary system to help podcasters and internet radio hosts learn how to program their show like the pros, build a constantly growing and loyal fan base, and monetize their show. I teach this system every 6 weeks via Zoom to individuals all over the world. The Behind the Mic Masterclass is 6 one-hour classes that will finally take your show to the next level. Call today, 817-633-4880, 817-633-4880, and reserve your seat for the next Behind the Mic Masterclass.
Hello everyone, this is
Eddie
and Maria, owners of the Pinche Smokers Tex-Mex Barbecue.
If you're looking for some good finger-licking barbecue, come check us out.
We are located in the Oak Cliff area. We also offer catering for weddings, quinces, and any other type of occasions. You can contact us at 214-579-0570.
You can find us on social media at Pinche Smokers Tex-Mex Barbecue LLC on Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat.
Come check us out, the best barbecue in the DFW.
Hi, this is Diane Marion Eunice, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. For the past 9 years, I have worked with over 300 couples in the areas of sexual health, communication, and conflict resolution. If you are interested in rebuilding connection and intimacy with your partner, please contact me today. I can be reached at 682-201-8175, or you can email me at diane@letstalkrelationships.org, or visit my website at www.letstalkrelationships.org. And remember, you can't heal if you refuse to deal.
We are so excited to announce that Antries Jones Productions has a new TV series coming out called Blocked. Blocked is a suspenseful drama surrounding a young lady named April who is at war with herself, and with a cold heart, she shatters anyone who tries to mend any brokenness from her past. Life itself has dragged her to hell and back, and she's going to make sure that God himself feels her wrath. Blocked is a nail-biter as it confronts many societal issues like church culture, molestation, hypocrisy, judgmental friends, and the inner turmoil of finding your own identity. Matter of fact, we have Antries Jones, who is the director, the producer, and the writer of this brand new series in the studio with us today.
Hey everybody, it's me, Antries Jones. Connect with us. Follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, IG, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I look forward to connecting with you. Stay tuned for my new TV series, Blocked, coming soon to streaming services. Yes!
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job.
Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties, sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Coy with your black tea sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's fill it up.
All right, and we're back. If you're just joining us, I have the privilege of having my dear friend Hillary Younger on, wife, mother, activist, HBCU graduate, interior designer extraordinaire, influencer from South Dallas. And we're playing music, indie music from Bootha Vandross. I've known him a long time too, who is a South Dallas native. And Hillary is talking about her experiences when she has been interviewing celebrities. She's also works in the media. She was the very first winner of the HGTV Design Star. So she has such a vast background. I love having her on the show, and I love talking to her. And we're talking about cancel culture, and some of these cultures that are canceling need to be canceled themselves. And so if you're just joining us, we were talking about Denzel. We've talked about John Gruden and how he's been canceled. And I want to move on now to really talk about the man of the hour, the man that I believe is the GOAT, the greatest of all time, not just because that he is an extraordinary comedian, but he's so thought provocative that he makes you think about things in such a real and tangible way. And so he has come under fire and under scrutiny for many years, walking away from $50 million. People thought he was crazy. And they attempted to cancel him when, and I'm sure you remember, Hillary, when they talked about he was crazy. It was something wrong with him. He fled to Africa, as if it is something wrong with a black man that decides to go to the continent, to go home, I'd like to say. And they tried it then, and Dave Chappelle just wouldn't bite. He went back to his roots, small comedy clubs, just doing the thing that he loved. It wasn't even about perfecting his craft. It was about participating in his passion, his way. I think about it all the time when he was doing that movie and they brought him a dress, and he talks about it all the time. He said, you don't have to be funny and wear a dress. You don't have to raise the status of your career by wearing a dress. He's always been the man to stand up for himself and say, no. Here we are again. Netflix special. Sticks and Stones. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I think it is his greatest body of work. Now, background, Netflix paid Dave Chappelle up front for 6 comedy specials. Sticks and Stones is the 6th one. So Dave Chappelle don't care if they pull it. I mean, the cancel culture is not doing anything, Hillary, if they pull it, because he's already been paid. So you're not hurting his pockets. You're not going to baby him. You know, and what he was saying, why should it be canceled? If you haven't watched it, spoiler alert, he makes comments about people being able to live in their truth, but be able to have opinions. My 13-year-old son says people are so sensitive. You can't even have a difference of opinion. Hillary, you started this show by saying you did not want to live in a world, I'm paraphrasing, where everybody is required to think the same. And you said that that's exactly what cancel culture is. Have you seen the Dave Chappelle special yet, Sticks and Stones?
Okay, so let me say, I'm so happy that I was able to join you today. This has been so exciting. It's been so refreshing to actually have a conversation, even though I talk to you all the time, but just to have a conversation out loud where others realize, opinions. Is this hurting your feelings? I actually just watched Sticks and Stones last night. Now, you know I am in Chappelle country because he is D.C. native, and my daughter's school, he's a graduate. So the Chappelle thing for me is a big deal. And I watched Sticks and Stones last night, and I kept waiting for the offensive moment, and they never happened. They never happened.
I agree.
And I think that we are in a space in time, especially with the LGBTQ community, the rest of the alphabet, with this community where they are trying to amass a level of power and domination in society that no one's been able to accomplish. You understand what I'm saying? Like, what they're trying to do right now is something that there is no group that has been able to accomplish this. You can't silence everyone. Right. You can't make everyone STFU. You just can't. You can't say the word gay if you're not gay without someone saying you're homophobic.
Right.
Well, why is the word gay offensive? Why is me saying, oh, he's gay? Why is that offensive? If you're gay and it's something to be proud of, why is that offensive for me to say that? Because if you say that I'm straight, I'm gonna own that and be like, yeah, I am. I like guys. I like men. I have a husband. I'm straight. That's not offensive to me. It's a lot of confusion in this space right now, and it's a very weird place to be in. But I am so happy that Netflix stood behind Dave Chappelle, one as a comedian, two as an activist and an advocate, and also as an ally, because the reality is LGBTQ people, that man is an ally. That man is an ally of this community.
But the fact that
all your allies are not gonna, you can't tell your allies to sit down and be quiet and we can't say anything.
But that's exactly what they want to do.
It's not gonna happen like that.
That's exactly what they want to do. And the fact that, and listen, I have someone in my life that's gay. Looking back, he was always gay. David Evans is my friend. Now, we don't talk all the time, but if David calls me and he needs something, I'm there, and vice versa. David would never say Coy is homophobic. We have had a lot of conversations because we grew up together. In fact, his mom used to date my dad's best friend, my Uncle Nat. So, we have a
people going to be so mad at you today.
That's okay, because,
Go ahead.
Listen. Now, I just tell the truth now. Sip power, pour truth. So now, here's the thing. David would never say that. I don't think he would say that I'm homophobic. I certainly don't consider myself homophobic, but I'm not part of the LGBTQ plus, because you got to put the plus on there now, I've been told. Oh, yeah, queer plus. So, you got to get the words right, because if you don't say the words right, then you're homophobic. If I don't say something exactly right, I'm homophobic. Here's the problem. I'm not in the community. That's not a part of my culture. So I don't really know what to say. So you know what I do? I don't say anything. I don't say anything at all because I don't want them coming after me and trying to cancel me on this little old radio show because there are things that I feel like they don't even allow us to do. And I think my dad said it best when he said, people who say they won't be disrespected never respect anybody. And I really feel like that is a large majority of that community. But you will see gay people identified as gay all up and down the Twitter saying, I don't even understand all the alphabets myself. This has gone too far. And I feel like this is, I don't know if it's an attempt to meld everybody in the same thought process which you brought up before, or if this is an attempt to exercise womanhood, because that's how it feels in a lot of ways.
This is definitely not the community that Audre Lorde and James Baldwin would want to live in.
Absolutely not.
I don't know anybody else's perspective on this, and I have more lesbian and gay and bisexual friends and even some transgender friends than I can even count. So for me to have to, I don't even have to do that. I don't have to go down that road because I know who I am, and if someone wants to classify me as homophobic, I can't control that. Okay, whatever. But what I will say is that as a woman, especially as a black woman who has experienced so much misogyny in my life from childhood all the way until now, this movement, especially in the trans community, the current trans community, feels very misogynistic and very cancel culture-esque.
Yes. Yeah.
All of these things have symptoms. Everything has a symptom. And for me, because I'm saying to you that I feel like I'm prey a lot of times. So anybody in the wild that has natural predators, you know what they look like. You know what to smell for. You know what to listen for, right? You know how to avoid your predator. And a lot of times the way that we are, the angle that's taken, the approach is taken, is very familiar. It is very misogynistic. And to be honest, it's very patriarchal.
It is
It's not.
It is that.
It doesn't look any different than anything else. It doesn't look organic. The culture itself, it's not an organic culture. It's a subculture that is adopting a lot of things that are very toxic and traumatizing from the culture that it's a subculture of, if you ask me. I want to ride, I want to support, and I want to continue to be an ally, but I am not going to do that at risk of losing my own spot on the planet.
And your own voice.
If that makes sense.
And your own voice.
My own voice.
Yes.
And sacrificing the organic nature in which I entered this space and what frequency I have to live on. Because I am not making a choice to be a woman. That's who I am.
That's right.
I'm not making a choice to be black. That's who I am.
Yeah.
And the fact that I decided to embrace who I am and how I came and live that no matter what obstacles I have to face and what hurdles I have to jump, I feel like that's the difference, right? You decided that you were born in the wrong body. And who am I to contest that? If that's where you are with it, that's what your mind is telling you. But how did it end up being a versus, though? How did your shit end up having directly to be a versus to my shit? I'm over here just living my life and existing in the same exact packaging and everything that I was given. And it's hyper controversial. Trust me, every day I got an obstacle, a hurdle.
Yes.
I got something adversarial right here in my face when I wake up every single day. But how the hell did you end up being my enemy? How did you end up being my enemy?
Right, and one of the things that I've said is that when you meet the LGBTQ community where they are, one of the things that I think we never get credit for is the civil rights movement that makes their movement possible. And there is this idea that we should all be a part of that movement, but I don't see any, now I've been on a lot of protests. I don't even see gay pride flags marching with us when we are marching against police brutality. When we are saying that an unarmed black person or Mexican or Hispanic or Latino person has been gunned down, I don't see the flags with us. Now, maybe they're there, but there doesn't seem to be communal space to move a movement forward where people are treated with equality and to have equity on both sides. And the idea that Dave Chappelle in particular is coming against the transgender community when clearly it is demonstrative that he's not, yet the trans community is still moving that, trying to punt that ball down the field, makes me wonder, what is the objective? And you may have said it already, Hillary, maybe the objective is that no one say anything ever and have their own opinion. But it seems to me that the very thing that they are saying they don't want done to them, they are doing to everybody else.
The movement in and of itself and on its face, it has grown to be very narcissistic. And most movements end up in that space because that's how you amass power, right?
Yeah.
But the reality for me is the verses. Like, you can't eliminate me, baby. I get it. You was born in the wrong body. I was born in the right body. I ain't got no problem with you or whatever it is that you want to do, but this covert undercover operation that you're doing to eliminate me, it's going to land you in a very bad space because, again, I'm a woman. So let's start right there with the fact that I have survived civilization, period. Like, right. I came here under attack. They've been raping us and trafficking us and doing all of that stuff since the caveman days, since the dinosaurs left. That's what they've been doing. And we still here making babies and creating more weirdos. So I don't know what they gonna do. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why, how you see us as the problem. How you see women specifically as the problem.
And you know what? I agree with that. We had a conversation about, I went to Kitchen and Cocktails, and I've told this story before. Sean and I went, and they sat us to, if you've been there before, it's to the left. And there's a photo there, and I've talked about this before, with Naomi Campbell and another model, and I want to say it's Christy Turlington, but I do not think that's her name. And it's a picture of them. They're completely nude, and there's a wide metallic gold paintbrush stroke across their breast. However, when you get to the female genitalia, there is an X. And that,
Katie Holmes, not Katie Holmes, Katie, the short one.
Yes. I can't remember. I can't remember her last name, and I wanted to say, I had to get it out of my mind so I could conjure up the right name. So I had to say it so it would get out of my mind because I knew it wasn't Christy Turlington. And I remember sitting there, and I'm usually not that person. I don't make everything be an attack on feminism. I don't make everything a thing where they're coming against womanhood. I don't make everything a black issue. But sitting there in that moment, it felt very uncomfortable to me to see an X on the female genitalia. I think had they just taken that same wide brush stroke and just painted across it, I think I would have been more comfortable with that, because then it's just kind of tongue-in-cheek. It's kind of risque, peekaboo moment. But the X, to me, sent a message. And I feel like that we are being X'd out of everything. And the idea that Dave Chappelle, and I really believe this is the issue, Dave Chappelle was not attacking the transgender community when he said that gender is a fact. And I feel like this groundswell against him was for that very reason, Hillary, because he said gender is a fact.
It's the only reason. That's the whole thing. It's the controversy around it. Like I'm saying, it's the controversy around the idea that gender is a fact. And that is something that psychologically this community is going to have to accept. It is beyond scientific. It's just natural, okay? Gender is a fact. Now, if you want to alter yours, you don't like yours, that's fine. I don't know. I don't speak for nobody else. I'm okay with that. That's fine. But what you're not going to do is try to mind F me, because I don't think you can say the UCK word. You're not going to try to mind F-U-C-K me into thinking that it's not a fact. You see what I'm saying?
And
that's the
that's
issue.
exactly right. And it's like this idea that you're not supposed to say that. Like, you know, I'm like, well, what is wrong with telling the truth? Gender is a fact. And if you choose to change your gender, that's your business. That's absolutely your business.
That's your
business. And mind your business. But to say that gender is not a fact, well, what are we trying to accomplish? Like, what are we really saying when you say that gender's not a fact? It is a fact. You were born a
Well, we live
gender.
in a world now where everyone is creating illusions around everything. I mean, social media, Instagram specifically, it is just full of illusion and delusion, and nothing is
Mostly
real.
delusion.
You know what I'm saying? So now, that's how people are supposed to be operating. This is a new order of operations. We all are supposed to be operating in a space of delusion. And I'm sorry, I can't do that. I can't do that. Because the afterlife that I want is real. So I don't operate in a space of delusion here.
Well, and I think that that's a valid point, that you almost have to agree in order to get along. And the truth of it is, I'm not a get along person, and most of my friends are not either. I got to take a quick break. This is Corey with the Black Tea Sip. Stay with us. We're talking about Dave Chappelle and cancel culture. And I want to talk about Meek Mills in just a minute.
Now available, T.H. Moore's newest novel, titled I Am, follows a young African-American couple who are forced to pick up the pieces of their marriage after the violent loss of their young godson at the hands of a local white policeman. The loss sparks not only their community's anger, but also the rage of a vigilante who initiates a nationwide killing spree targeted at corrupt police officers. New York Times best-selling author Omar Tyree praises T.H. Moore's new novel as an audacious story and read. Dr. Christopher C. Irving, CEO of the Miller Institute for Leadership and Diversity in America, calls it a daring story. I Am by T.H. Moore, now available at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and at thmoore.com.
Asking me where I wanna be next to you. Baby, I'm thankful for the game that you're teaching me. I take it to heart. I want a piece of you. I wanna be yours. I wanna know what you think. When we talk, what you feel. There is a problem, babe. Don't know if it's real or not. I know what I feel. I need some more of you. You and me belong together. I don't mind showing you it's real. I feel your heart when it beat. Me and you, we on the same team. I wanna be yours. I wanna be yours. I got a smart mouth, but I want it to be yours. I got a good heart and it's beating for you. Don't have to show me it's real. I wanna be, I don't mind showing you it's real. I wanna be.
All right, this is Corey with the Black Tea Sip. If you're just joining us, I'm on with my good friend Hillary Younger, who is an interior designer extraordinaire. And we are talking about cancel culture and Dave Chappelle and the Netflix saga, if you will. And we're talking about the fact that it feels, as a woman, that there is a movement in some factions of the LGBTQ plus community that want to kind of X us out. They want that I think, and I've said this before the break, that I really feel like the whole reason Dave Chappelle is under attack is that he said one line: gender is a fact. and gender is a fact. Now, I mean, if you choose to change I really feel like that's your business, and nobody should, and people are gonna comment on it, but people are gonna comment on my hair today. Somebody said, "Is it really that cold in Dallas? She has on a sweatshirt." Well, it's cold in the studio, hooker. So some of this is just part of life. But what I really appreciate, Hillary, is when Dave Chappelle, if you haven't watched it yet, spoiler alert, Dave Chappelle said that the transgender woman that he befriended, that he allowed to open up for him at his comedy show, said, "I'm having a human experience." Well, isn't that what we're all having? So if it's painted in that way, that I'm having a human experience, I don't think that you lose anybody. In fact, I think you gain people. But when it's this idea that I have to agree with it and accept it in any and every way that it's presented, and I also have to say that I support it, and then demonstrative of that fact, you're looking for words and deeds, then it becomes too much for me, because that's not a community that I'm very familiar with. So you're putting me in a position to have to understand something that is foreign to me, and then you're telling me to go and research it, understand it, accept it, present it, and then you're telling me to recruit others in the same line of thinking. That's a lot you're asking me to do. When if you just said, "I'm having a human experience and allow me to live," well, who has a problem with that? But you're requiring too much. When I think personally, if it's a transgender person, you had an opportunity to go through your journey, whatever your process was, and the people around you had an opportunity to witness that and to go through that journey with you. People that are not part of that journey, and and we find out, we don't even have time to process, because you're saying this is what it is, run with it. I think that's unfair and it's unkind, and I think you're requiring too much of people when you could just have a human experience, and we would all stand up for that, because we're all having human experiences. And I think that is the problem with cancel culture. You can't have a human experience. I feel very strongly about this. I'm not a fan of the baby. I can't quote one line from any song. I don't know a chorus, nothing that this child sings. But I have a problem with the fact that you've had more than one country music superstar come out, call people, black people, niggers on film, and the NAACP goes and gets them and has diversity and inclusion classes with them, but the baby, throw him away. Well, why isn't it an opportunity for just to have diversity education? Why is there not LGBTQ, and I think I'm leaving out some LGBTQ plus classes, education, in the same way that we try to educate people about the hurtfulness of the word? Why is that not an option? You mess up, you get destroyed. You don't quite mess up, they attempt to destroy you. If you don't walk the straight line and not participate in any way, that is the only way to be safe. And I think that's just categorically impossible. Hillary, your thoughts? Did we lose her? Hillary, are you there? We may have. Are you there? Can she hear me? Okay, well, she can't hear me. So I think here's my thoughts about the whole Dave Chappelle thing. I think that we are in a place where Dave Chappelle and Kevin Hart are going to be able to survive. And maybe they'll set a precedence. Because if you don't know, there were 3 people that burst into the Netflix retreat. Netflix had a retreat for their top 500 employees. And they crashed it. They were kind of like retreat crashers, like party crashers. They crashed it, demanding certain action. Now, Netflix says they were not suspended because they demanded certain action to be taken against Dave Chappelle. They wanted his show removed from Netflix. And Netflix was like, no, we didn't pay for this show, and we need to get our money out of it. They wanted their monies. But they said they did suspend them for crashing the retreat. So they have been heavily suspended. I don't know what that means, but I suggest that it has to do with their pockets. I think they hit them in their pockets, and I think that what happened was that they you know how like a cop will shoot somebody and they put them on administrative leave while they investigate and still pay them? I don't think they're getting paid. So when we start to talk about cancel culture, we are really talking about the fact that a group of people will rise up against you and attempt to destroy you and attempt to put you on something other than administrative leave. There's never an opportunity to learn, to grow, to get it right. I talked about this before. Kevin Hart, he always wanted to host the Oscars, got an opportunity to host the Oscars, and they went back and drudged up, kind of like Katie Couric, something like with Denzel, 2004, went and found something that he said. It wasn't the best thing to be said, but I'm sure at the time it was probably funny. I don't know that it's funny today because we have a better understanding of the hurtfulness. And I've always known my friend David really struggled during adolescence because of his feelings for same sex. And I have often thought to myself, I wasn't a good friend to him at that time, but I was having my own human experience and trying to go through adolescence and figure my stuff out. But I think about how he was, how he struggled in that time. And so we do want to be sensitive. The idea that children are killing themselves is beyond my understanding as a parent. So, that is not what you don't want your child in any circumstance to feel so hopeless that they take their own life. So I think that there is a majority of straight people and people that are not necessarily a part of that community that are very sensitive to the struggles of just acceptance of oneself. However, I think that in this struggle to be emancipated in a way, there is always an attack. And I don't understand the attacks. And the attack that was made on Dave Chappelle when he is saying, listen, I feel the way I feel. And I think, the word team turf. And when he said that team turf was, he was basically J.K. Rowling that wrote Harry Potter. She says that she is trans exclusionary radical feminist. So she's saying, as a woman, I am about the movement that empowers women, that hopes to bring about a certain level of equality and equity to women. Now, let me say this. When I don't consider myself a feminist, because when they talk about feminism, they don't always incorporate people that look like me. A lot of feminism, excuse me, I don't have corona before y'all start. A lot of feminism is really about a whitenized experience and what that looks like. And so because of that, you often find us being excluded. We're going to take a quick break. This is Corey with the Black Tea Sip. My allergies.
Now available, T.H. Moore's newest novel, titled I Am, follows a young African-American couple who are forced to pick up the pieces of their marriage after the violent loss of their young godson at the hands of a local white policeman. The loss sparks not only their community's anger, but also the rage of a vigilante who initiates a nationwide killing spree targeted at corrupt police officers. New York Times best-selling author Omar Tyree praises T.H. Moore's new novel as an audacious story and read. Dr. Christopher C. Irving, CEO of the Miller Institute for Leadership and Diversity in America, calls it a daring story. I Am by T.H. Moore, now available at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and at thmoore.com.
For nearly 30 years, we've had the experienced leadership of Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson. Now, it's our duty to ensure that we continue toward progress. I am Jane Hope Hamilton. As a wife, a mother, and for a time a single mother, I know firsthand the challenges that our families face, and I know what it takes to get things done for our families and our community. As the state director for President Biden and former chief of staff on Capitol Hill, I fought for our community to have affordable health care, good paying jobs, and quality education. For years, I have also gone toe-to-toe with those who try to push us back and knock us down. When corrupt Republicans pass discriminatory voting laws that violate our rights, I fought back, went to court, and won. And when an out-of-control cop beat me to the ground, I refused to be intimidated. I stood up for myself, and the charges were dropped because I demanded justice. In this climate, as we face so much uncertainty, I am being encouraged to run in Congressional District 30. And as I consider it, I'd like to hear from you. Together, we can move our communities and our families forward.
All right, and we're back. This is Corey with the Black Tea Sip. If you just joined us, I'm talking about cancel culture. I think some of these cultures need to be canceled. Some of the people that are doing the canceling need to be canceled themselves. I think this whole attack on Dave Chappelle is it's purposeful in as much as he said gender is a fact. And I feel that there is a certain movement, a faction, not the entire LGBTQ plus community, not all trans women. I'm certainly not saying that. And all of the movements that are going on in this country are basically because it stems from a misogynistic, patriarchal movement of its own, if you will. If we think about how this nation started, and that, 4th of July, we celebrate our independence, marking back to 1776. From England, women did not have rights. When they were talking about voting and they were talking about the Congress that was making decisions for this nation, there were no women there. Black, white, green, purple, no women. We have Obama signed into law, the Lilly Ledbetter law, that said you have to pay a woman the same amount as a man for doing the same job. So I am not suggesting that there is not a need for women to be empowered and to have equity and equality in this country, and certainly within our societies. That is not lost on me at all. What I am saying, unequivocally, categorically, is that women, regardless of their color in this country, don't always share the same movement. And I think this attack on Dave Chappelle is also an attack on womanhood as a whole, but then that is a bifurcated process in the mentality of what we need as women. And I feel very strongly that unless we are able to really address and talk about, there's going to always be some adversity between the LGBTQ community, the straight community, and then just foolishness. Like, we have enough to deal with where we shouldn't be infighting, and we certainly shouldn't be fighting allies. But that's what happened. I think Dave Chappelle is an ally to that community, to the culture of people that are saying we want acceptance and we want inclusion. And I think that it's muddied by things like Lizzo. I think it's muddied by that. I think, if we want to celebrate ourselves and individuality and to talk about empowerment, then there are ways to do that, and you certainly can't cancel. So here is what I'm saying. I believe that cancel culture is for two people: rich white women and the gay community. If you're not part of that, I'm not saying all white women, because it's a white woman right now that's dealing with a stupid boss in an office building downtown Dallas, and she has no power. And she has told people, and she still has no power. So this is how you get things done. When you say, oh, well, the Me Too movement was started by, well, no. Wait a minute. The Me Too movement was started by a black woman. It was hijacked by the woman McGowan. She cut all her hair off, and she purposefully, intentionally, and I'm sure without regret, because I don't think they should have any regret, went after Weinstein. But that was started by a black woman, hijacked from her. So truly, cancel culture is for two people. is for rich white women and the gay community. Because if cancel culture was for people who needed to cancel foolishness, and that's an umbrella term, I'm using foolishness as a technical term. Angelo, pull up the picture of Lizzo. I want to have a conversation about that. When y'all looking at me, no, I do not have coronavirus. I have allergies. I turned 49. I got allergies. Some of y'all say, oh, she was coughing, and now she's kind of wiping her nose. Well, I have allergies. Just before y'all try to cancel me and say I got COVID. So, Lizzo. Woo, Lord. Now, let me be very clear. Lizzo is, in the words of the dearly departed philosopher, Bernie Mac, she is bucket naked, showing her public hairs. She has absolutely nothing on. Now, somebody's going to say, well, it's because she's a large woman. This woman is not large. A large woman is Wonder Woman because she's from the home of the Amazons. This woman is morbidly obese. Now, I want to be clear about this. I don't want to see any woman's breast if I can help it. This is attention seeking. This is attention whorish. And we have to ask ourselves, why would she do this? Is she celebrating her body? Because you can do that with clothes on. Is she hoping to entice certain men or a man? You have to ask yourself, what is the mentality of this? And here it is. When you see a woman or a man, because this new celebration of body images and body types and love of oneself is at an all-time low on both sides of the fence. If you see a woman or a man and the woman has on her toddler's tank top and some yoga pants from 4 babies ago or 3 sizes ago, and they are there with their stomach done lapped out from under their shirt, you can thank Lizzo. Because Lizzo tells you it's all right to not take pride in your clothing, to not celebrate yourself clothed. This is what this is about. Pull up the picture of Rihanna for me, please, Angelo. So now, people are going to say, oh, you're fat shaming her. No. Mm-mm. Because I don't want to see anybody naked if I can help it. Now, I mean, if I stand in the mirror at home and admire myself, that's what I choose to do. Now, you say, well, what was wrong? What's the difference? Here's the difference. Now, somebody's going to say, Corey, you're wrong. This is, I looked at it. It appears that Rihanna has on a thong. She's at least covering up her public hairs. But here is my philosophy. Why did Rihanna do this? This is my take. I liken it to this. When Lethal White from the show Chicago, she made the statement, it was reported that this is going to be the gayest show ever. And she was talking about The Chi. I'm saying Chicago. The name of the show is The Chi. And I remember thinking to myself, that's a weird statement. That's like somebody saying this is going to be the straightest show ever. No one ever said that. Now, are you saying that all shows are straight? Well, okay. I mean, we don't have to argue that point. But what is the point exactly? And so I'm here with it. I don't want to see heterosexual sex on TV. I think you ought to have those commercials about erectile dysfunction. I think they ought to do that another way. You got little 5 and 6-year-olds saying, what is erectile dysfunction? What is Viagra? And it forces uncomfortable conversations for parents and guardians. I think when you show the bedroom or they're walking in the room and the door closes, say, look here, we know what's happening. And y'all have over-sexualized everything so these children know what's happening too. So I don't have to see a man and a woman groping all over each other. And to me, it really does not add to the storyline. I feel the same way about homosexual sex. I don't need to see that. I got a pretty good idea of what goes where. All the parts and the pieces. I'm cool. I got it. I feel the same way about heterosexual sex. I know everything goes, this thing goes in this place. Like, I got it. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see you act it out. And for the people that do, there's a thing called porn. Soft porn, hard porn. You got porn on your phone now. You can pack your porn with you in your pocket. You don't need to necessarily do that. So Rihanna could have done without it. Lizzo could have done without it. I don't see the point. It's very attention seeking. You say, well, Rihanna's thin, so you were more tolerable. That might be true. That may be true. May not even be debatable or arguable. However, it's unnecessary on both ends. And that is all that was over social media. Oh, you're just doing it. No, Lizzo said she's going to celebrate her body. That's great. Kudos to you, Lizzo. Oh, no. I shouldn't have said kudos to you. Because the way she went about it. Because what Lizzo is not talking about is being healthy. And I am not saying because Rihanna is thin, she's healthy. Because you can be skinny and have a heart attack. That's not lost on me. What I am saying is this idea that you going to take 12 biscuits and stuff it into a container that's only supposed to hold 2 biscuits, well, that look like that ought to be not only uncomfortable, but cause some vascular situations. Like maybe how your blood don't go where it's supposed to go or something. And the idea that you're saying, well, I'm big, I'm happy, and I'm proud of my body, so I'm going to put on a sheath and go outside and let everybody talk about it. You know, you just say, is she trying to stay relevant or is she celebrating her body? Because the two are not synonymous. Lizzo is not saying I'm a big bone. You know how black folks call, old people in particular. They say, well, she's big boned. She's not saying I'm a big boned girl and this is my size. She's saying I'm happy being morbidly obese. You cannot be morbidly obese and be healthy. Do you have to be model slim to be healthy? Absolutely not. Can you look like Lizzo and be healthy? No. Now, I don't know what her stats are. I don't know how she eats. But I know that your body dictates how it feels in the way that it looks. So, the doctors have you stick out your tongue to see if you have liver disease when you have those lines in your tongue. They look to see if it's a white coating on your tongue to determine whether or not you have an overgrowth of yeast in your gut. The body dictates how it feels, what's going on with it. So Lizzo should just stop. I mean, this it's getting to be ridiculous. It really is. So I'm not saying skinny or fat. Keep your clothes on. Okay. I don't know. Take some pictures, send them to Playboy. You know what? There it is. Send your pictures, Lizzo, to Hugh. If he posts them, then you have your 15 minutes of fame and your body image. All of your desires should be fulfilled in that moment. I want to talk about Meek Mill's. And so bring up the album cover. Meek Mill's new album, Expensive Pain, is number 2 spot on the top R&B and hip hop albums on Billboard. But the album cover is it's doing a lot. That's what it's doing. And in it's doing a lot, it is created by a black woman. Nina Chanel is the artist, and she is known for kind of putting up kind of a thought provocative, some people may even say risque. She's a gay woman, Nina Chanel Abney, and she lives in New York, and she has been painting and doing things to kind of show off the female body. She has portrayed, sometimes she wants to be provocative as far as the treatment of the gay community, trans community, lesbian community. And so one of the things that has been mentioned in particular is the woman bending over with the pink dot. Apparently it's now on a bus, coming to you soon. Let's play the clip, Angela, of the man. And then I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna be done, because somebody's gonna tell me I'm attacking white people today. I'm not, but somebody's gonna say it.
Bus. Look at this bus that goes by in my neighborhood. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? What is this? This is on the side of a bus. This is on the side of a bus rolling through your street. Rolling on the side of your street. Is this what you want, black women? Is this what you want, black women? Is this what you want? Look at this bull fucking shit. Look at this shit on the side of a bus. Is this what you want, black women? Is this what you want? Is this how you want to be respected? Is this how you want to be respected in life? This is how you want to look? This is how you want to be portrayed? Stand up to this bullshit. I'm from Philly. I actually should support Meek Mill. This is fucking disgusting bullshit. Look at this lady. Look at this. This is on the side of a bus where little girls can pull up and see this shit. That's her fucking pussy. Let's not mistake what this pink dot is. This is disgusting. This is satanic bullshit. I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of... Look at this shit that you're getting on. This is for everyone to see. Little girls are seeing this crap. It's fucking crap. This is disgusting. This is disgusting. I'm so sick of them just rubbing Satanism right in your face. Oh, it's for art? This is art? Is this art? Black and white checkerboard. What is that? It's a Masonic flooring.
So here's a white man having a rant about a public bust that Meek Mills has paid to rap in his album cover. Okay. And then he goes on to talk about, is this what you want, black women? Stand up for yourself. Sir, somebody tell him the caucasity of it all. What qualifies you, sir, to tell black women how they are supposed to feel? The woman that did it is a black woman. And I'm sorry for all of the profanity, but I wanted you to see he's so outraged and he's telling black women how to feel, but look how he's talking to black women. He used the colloquialism, street term, gutter version of vagina. He is cussing. He has, in fact, busted up a cuss word and cussed inside of it. Bull, bleep, bleep, So I just don't even know what we're supposed to do with that. If you want me to feel offended and to empower me, then why would you curse me out in the process? Here's what's wrong with white people trying to tell black people how to feel. Black women, Mexican people, Chinese people, Japanese people, Vietnamese people, Korean people. The problem, and white women, because they quick to tell y'all how to feel too. Let me not leave you out, sisters. They are quick to try to tell you, we start this show out talking about the misogyny and a patriarchal society. They are so quick to tell people how to feel. Whether I like this or not, I have an opinion. It's abstract art. Maybe she's celebrating the human body. Maybe she's saying that this is the place that all life comes from. I don't know what she was trying to do. I do know that I have a right to feel the way I feel about it, good or bad, and I don't need some white man cussing me out telling me how I'm supposed to feel. It was whatever he was trying to accomplish was completely lost on most of us. Go to Black Twitter. Black Twitter. You have to use don't forget, type in your password, use the key card, then you can get in the door, and then when you get in that door, it's another door. Don't forget the second password. Go to Black Twitter. Because the idea that I'm supposed to celebrate him for what he's saying. There are album covers by rockers, by Ozzy Osbourne. He says he's a fan of Meek Mills. He's from Philly, so I'm assuming that he's probably not an Ozzy Osbourne fan. But there, David Lee Roth and the women. There has been all kinds of, from way before Meek Mills, risque artwork. Let's put it that way. But is this how you're supposed to feel, black women? Why he couldn't just say he was outraged? Why he had to pull us into it? I just feel like I'm in Texas. Governor Hot Wheels and the NASCAR cohorts are telling women of every ilk, of every race, that they cannot have an abortion. I'm not so much, pro-abortion. I am pro-choice and make your choice. But there is this movement that many people of color have gotten caught up in with cancel culture and telling people how to feel. And the next movement is going to be to cancel Meek Mills. I thought people like, Denzel were safe. They are not. So it makes me wonder, what about LeBron? Since we talked about Dave Chappelle, he's the GOAT. He keeps it 100. What about LeBron, the Four Horsemen? Recently, and I haven't done a Black Excellence Award in a long time, so we're going to give it to LeBron, but we're going to give it to his friends as well. The Four Horsemen, as they're called, grew up together, met each other in the early teens, and really have built an empire. He is now partnered with Redbird, and his company is evaluated at $725 million. He is now going to do, Nike is a part of Redbird. So now he'll be able to do some things with Nike. So he wants to bring lifestyle. He wants to bring video games and TV and movie productions, so that now we are represented in a light where we can show that we are not monolithic, that we have different mindsets and different areas of acceptance and different areas of disagreement. And all of that will be showcased because LeBron is somebody who understands what it is like to be wrapped in this sun-kissed skin. And he understands what it is like to be presented with adversity by something that you can do nothing about. But I wonder how high he will rise before someone decides to cancel him, to target him. And what are they going to tell us to think about him? I'm certainly not celebrating Meek Mills in this album cover. I felt like it was a little much. I don't know what the album is about. I mean, I don't know if the man was talking about he tired of Satanism. Why didn't he jump up and down and crap in the floor when Kanye had the album cover of the demon on top of him in a sexual position? Why not? I mean, it just seems that the outrage always comes when it is us doing something for us. So kind of a FUBU situation for us, by us. In which black women are showcased or featured. I don't know, maybe it wasn't a big deal with Kanye because the demon, was white in color. I'm not saying the demon was a white woman before y'all start that. The demon was white in color. I mean, it was a demon, so it wasn't a woman. I mean, come on. So I just wonder, where are we going next? Well, I don't know. When it comes up or I get it figured out, I'll come back to you and tell you. We're going to do it again next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Angelo and I will be here for your enjoyment, for your provocative thought, and for whatever else we got going on. I'll see you again in a week, Fridays at 11 o'clock on YouTube. And I want y'all to stay safe out there. Get your little fair on if you can. The weather's supposed to be nice. And love, peace, and hair grease. And we're out.